All right, boys, we're finally back with Demon Rush Chapter 13, and this is actually one of my more favorite chapters. We get to see Carner go a little bit ham, and we get introduced to some brand new characters that are very important to the story. It's a really good chapter with a lot of explanations and some action, so we're going to jump into that in just a minute. But first, I want to let you know that General Adler is available for purchase now on shop.demonrush.com. That means you can make a neutral deck using cards from all factions and any cards you basically want. Get it now. Malicious Ghost is also an ultra premium, available on the website shop.demonrush.com. In the previous chapter, we got Rush's backstory, and we learned that he grew up having a very hard life. His father beat his mother and left the home, and his mom is sick. His father got mixed up with some really bad guys called the Black Hand, and now Rush has bumped into this crew who is supposed to escort him to the quote-unquote big guy. But because Rush has just bumped into them, he got all these flashbacks of his past, and he has a vendetta against them. First, they're going to test his power level. Essentially, they have an ability that's like a scouter, and they say that his Imperium limit is only 12, meaning he's actually pretty weak. As they make fun of his father, Rush goes crazy and attacks, but he gets completely walloped. His hand gets shattered, his balance gets flipped, and he doesn't stand a chance against the Black Hand. He's freaking out because he thinks they killed his father, but as Alec lets them know, your father is still alive. And now Rush is being taken to some place to meet some guy. He's not really sure what's going on, but he doesn't really have any other options because these guys are way stronger than him. They have an Imperium limit of around 50 each, and their leader has an Imperium limit of around 100. So he is at their mercy at the current moment. Chapter 13, The Grand Compendium, featuring a new female on the cover. You saw her from the episode 2 anime promo, and her name is Dr. Eska Nadir. She is a brilliant scientist that has a code deciphering algorithm, and as we'll see in this chapter, her scientific discoveries are going to lead Rush onto an adventure. So we go into Star City to a skyscraper where Rush is in an elevator going up to meet this big guy, and he is surrounded by the Black Hand. His hand is really jacked up, and he's a little nervous at this point. Now, some of the models of Rush that you may have seen in Demon Rush, he has his arms wrapped up with bandages, and now you're going to see why. He rips off his shirt to bandage his hand, and yeah, so trying to explain how his costume transforms through the series. You know, he doesn't mind just tearing off some clothes and wrapping around his wounds. Rush has bigger problems to worry about. Bazin telling Rush, try not to piss your pants, because the character he's about to meet is kind of a big deal in the Demon Rush world. So we move over to this scientist, Dr. Eska Nadir, who is typing on a computer, and she has this stone tablet in a casing that she is doing some observations on. She's saying that the radiometric data shows that this tablet is over 15,000 years old, but even more interesting, the characters written on it are laser etched with 100% accuracy, which is basically impossible. And this shady character, this big guy, saying to himself, this is remarkable. My AI is deciphering it, but the translation is stuck at a max potential of 76% until we can verify further authenticity. It appears to be a set of instructions, introductions to science and medicine. The most used words are man, start, end, time, and God. So this tablet seems to be like an explanation for the creation of mankind, like teaching humanity mathematics and agriculture. And as the big guy states, outstanding progress, you've succeeded where your predecessors have failed, all thanks to your innovative code deciphering algorithm. So this means that he's been trying to get this tablet deciphered for a long time. Nobody's been able to do it, but Eska has created some specific code deciphering, code cracking AI that was able to do it. So now the doors are going to open, and Rush is going to enter the fray with all the Black Hand, and he's going to be immediately startled by bumping into Nolan Bates. So he is the billionaire Nolan Bates, and he is kind of a combination of Elon Musk and Bill Gates, if you couldn't tell. So he says, if Carner recommended you, you must be strong. I'm Nolan. And he offers Rush a handshake, and Rush saying to him, I'm honored to meet you, but like, what do you need me for? You're a billionaire, you're the world leader in robotics and geoengineering. What use am I to you? And as Nolan states, to be honest, I was never much of a religious man. I always thought I could protect the world and save people with science and technology. And he has all these robots doing farming and agriculture and such. But everything changed for him that day of doomsday when Michael fought Al Golga, when he witnessed the apocalyptic battle of the gods in their dear city. It changed everything for him because he realized religion is real. What we've been told may not be the full truth. And so he urgently purchased as many mythical artifacts as he could find. It became an obsession of his to get down and deep into the truth of why those two titans were fighting and what exactly it means for humanity. What's the point of having all this money if some giant titan can just wipe you out? So the tablet had been locked away in a religious dark vault, and it's only through his generous donations that he is allowed to inspect it. He believes it holds a key of biblical proportions. And if you're not familiar, this tablet is a reference to the Emerald Tablet of Thoth. You should look into that if you don't know anything about it. And Rush asks, a key to what? To which Nolan responds, a key to the creation of mankind. And you can even see he has this like holographic technology ring on his finger, and you can see that Eska kind of has some of this technology on her character as well, which will come in the future. As he explains, every society in history has written about the supernatural. Each civilization believes in opposing outside forces tugging on humanity. However, after the nuclear bomb in 1945, humanity diverged from God. People revered technology instead and forgot our destiny. Our true history morphed into mythology, and I plan on revealing that knowledge to the world. Just then the computer beeps a bunch, and Eska says that the characters seem to identify longitude and latitude coordinates. The locations are in Arizona, USA, Turkey, and Antarctica. The AI can't transcribe any further until we verify which of these three locations is correct. So essentially, the AI can put all the characters together and decipher most of the tablet, but until they like verify that certain characters are correct and these numbers are correct, the AI can't decipher any further. So he's gonna have to go to these three locations around the world and find out which one is hiding the Grand Compendium book that Nolan and Carner are looking for. Nolan gives Rush a briefcase, and in it is a car key, a credit card, and a phone. And so he's basically getting the black card, unlimited money, and a nice car. Use this for whatever you need to go around the world and search for this book. But Rush is like, well, why me though? Like, why not these goons, the Black Hand? And this surprises Nolan. He's like, oh, I thought Carner recommended you because you were stronger than them. And this really pisses off Baron and the Black Hand. They're like, this little Eska, send Mr. Cohen the coordinates you found. The closest location, she says, is Sedona, Arizona. I recommend that you begin there. So Mr. Cohen, this mission is of the utmost importance. I trust that you will report your findings to me quickly. Rush leaves now with his briefcase full of money, and so he's beeping his brand new shiny car. It looks like a Rolls Royce or something like that. Rush doesn't have a car, so this is awesome. I mean, he grew up extremely poor. He got some wheels now, but the Black Hand are right behind him, and they are pissed. They want to know, what did Rush do to gain Carner's favor? He only has an Imperium limit of 12. He's only completed one trial. There's no reason really to them why Rush, of all people, would be getting such special treatment. All these years of doing his tasks, obeying his orders, now he tosses us to the side for some wimpy kid? It doesn't add up. Those relics should be ours. And so it looks like they're all about to jump Rush, take him out so that they can get the mission instead. And just then, Carner appears, and powerfully, as an explosion of wind and Imperium emanates from him. And he looks pissed. He looks really, really pissed off. He's like, don't you dare lay a finger on my precious boy, Rush. So they freak out. They're like, oh, boss, we were just escorting him to his car. You know, like we weren't doing anything wrong. And Sigrid's like, why do you even take orders from this guy? And he looks at Bazin, who's all scared and sweating and everything. He's like, it's 5 versus 1. Our Imperium has got to be bigger than his if we combine all of us together. It's like 300. We got to be able to take him him out together, right? Well, let's just see. Let me make sure, and let me inspect his Imperium. We know that Sigrid, as we saw from chapter 12, he can see your Imperium, and that's what he does. He uses Potential Gradu. Let me see how strong you are, Carner. And he flicks his finger, and his friends are like, no, don't do that. And you can see Carner's aura of souls. His Imperium is unimaginably massive. It's so big that Sigrid can't even see the bottom of it, and it's quite terrifying. Sigrid, I think he realizes he just made a big mistake, and this is the first time we've actually really seen Carner angry. He is visibly angry that they've inspected his power and that they're going after Rush. So what are his motives? I mean, what exactly is the reason for Carner to act like this? You should be asking yourself those questions. Now Carner appears directly in front of Sigrid in an instant. It seems like he didn't even move. He kind of just phased in front of him and wraps his hand around Sigrid's mouth and face. Baron saying, "Sigrid, you fool!" Carner says, "If you want to see a glimpse of my power, just ask." And I think you can tell as a reader, Sigrid's, he's not gonna live much longer. You can start to see these like black veins start going through his face. His eyes start popping out. He's like, what is happening to me? Like, it feels like my life force is being sucked out of me. And so he tries to grab Carner's hand. He can't rip it off. He pulls out a knife and he stabs it directly into Carner's head. And so it looks like it connects. Rush even calling out like, oh my God, like, did Carner just get stabbed in the head? Like this is bad. But then on the next page, you can see that Sigrid's hand is kind of just like phasing through Carner, like meshing through him, like he's made of gas or something like that. And it goes directly through him. So physical combat does not work on Carner. That's pretty important to note here. And Carner just smiles as Sigrid's eyes begin to burst out of his head and his skin and flesh and blood fly off of his body and begin to be sucked into Carner. And the imagery is beautiful here from Pedro. I mean, he just killed it here, showing the power of Carner to suck your life force out of your whole soul, just suck the flesh off your bones and absorb it. And the guy has literally just turned into a skeleton almost immediately. Someone with 50 Imperium limit was nothing to Carner. And now that Carner is absorbing it into himself, you can assume that his power level or his Imperium limit has just increased by 50, which to him is probably not that much. Bazin, seeing his friend get murdered, puts on his armor and he's gonna jump in, but Baron, the leader, is like, no, he stops him. He says, don't do that. We'll all just die. And Carner says, I only have one use for ill-mannered vassals like you, as it gives this dark and ominous, powerful look of Carner as he holds Sigrid's skull in his hand, and the flash of energy emanates from his eyes. Ooh, boy, what a good imagery here. I mean, just so well depicted and drawn by Pedro. To feed on. If you disobey me, your only job is food, is to become my food. And he drops the skull to a pile of bones and cloth as he's just ripped all the flesh and blood and energy and everything from Sigrid into himself, killed him instantly. And Rush can't believe it. Nobody else can believe it. Like, it was nothing to Carner. Like, he didn't even try. This guy seems invincible, and yeah, don't mess with Carner. And we don't really know what his true motives are. So they bow down to him. And Baron says, Sigrid overstepped his bounds. We know our place. They know not to mess with Carner. You know, as they get more powerful, they get more cocky and confident. But I guess each time one of them tests themselves against Carner, they get killed. So Carner says, to lower beings such as yourselves, Lucifer's plans are arduous and inscrutable. You don't have the capacity to see the grand design, so follow my orders or you'll become my next meal. And essentially what he's saying, you know, Carner has direct contact with Lucifer and all these super powerful wizards and everything like in Limbo. He knows a lot more about the grand plan. These guys are just little pawns. And like, yeah, they have the ability, if they follow orders, they can get stronger and join the ranks and everything, but they're extremely low level. their brains just simply can't handle the power of the grand design. It's like 5D chess, and you know, these guys suck. So he's like, just stay in line or you'll become my food. And that's the end of the chapter. Make sure you tell your friends about Demon Rush. Put them on it, share this, like it, leave a comment, boost the engagement so we can get Demon Rush boosted in the algorithm. Thank you guys, and I'll see you on the next Demon Rush video.